anything with computers like Cascade. Really confused. I've been working with Graham for quite a number of years now, and it seems like he's part of my family, and I can wish he was. I wish adopt Graham University. He has done some phenomenal work on the Kettle River, and a lot of us have had the pleasure of working with Graham. So he's going to bring you up to date on what's happening with Kettle River. Okay.
I wanted to have one really I put it right there. Cover it on the face. That's right. All right. So I'm Greg Wadding, bringing to the Watershed district, and 1 year ago, I don't know the date, but a year ago for this meeting, we launched the Watershed plan regional district, and so we've been for now a year in implementation. Really spending some good progress in some areas and very stuff. So the first part of the talk today, I was a little bit of an update to what we learned a little bit on the river this year of that. And then I'll shift gears into learning on the Kettle River, sharing some highlights of what we learned in the last 2 years of field work and geospatial analysis, talking with people on the river and trying to get understanding. So that's So talk a little bit about where we got to the enforcement, restoration, drought, and the response to it, and looking ahead to what we have in our site. So the Kettle River Watershed Plan had a three-part. Phase one was studying what's going on in the watershed. Phase one watershed management plan was some environmental, but never really excellent summary of where we're at, especially on the water supply, water use. There's lots of remaining questions. Systems, that kind of thing. But it was a really good foundation.
Can everybody hear that?
Phase two started in early 2012. I came on board, and it was working with a really broad net of people to develop strategies to work out these issues that we had seen picking up in phase one study, for developing strategies for stewardship to take care of things. So that's all at Kettle River and lots of planning. And so now we're in phase three. What are we doing? Well, the challenges that we saw in the 2000s, we come back and hit droughts in 2000, tree in 2009. So another one this year with really low load and really high temperatures, fish kills and drought issues. So those really come down to it. Well, what's the mandate for doing? The province has jurisdiction over the licensing, over all the flow and all those kind of things. They are updating the Water Sustainability Act, I think it's coming into force very soon. So that's going to bring about a few changes, certainly in groundwater, potentially maybe in environmental flows. But the province really wasn't there at the table of these people. Regional district has a mandate in this area for mainly land use planning, so the environmental services and things that are connected. But we did have kind of the go ahead and start thinking, putting together the big picture of getting a little response. So that's where we came about building support, growing the understanding, and increasing capacity. if we're going to have any traction for doing anything, we have to have to think. So this is really significant, and I want to read it out loud. Is that the endorsement is, and what follows is really, really cool. So the regional district, this was the language that went ahead with the endorsement last fall. The regional district board of directors considers information on relevant sections of decision making, implementing the priority strategies and actions that are appropriate to government planning documents, i.e. efficiency and utility bylaws, services and preservation in partnership with laws and initiatives, and promoting implementation of the plan through endorsing it for use by other local and regional organizations, governments, and stakeholders, and through lobbying, there's other local government and agencies for policies and capacity improvement. So that came up a lot, right? Capacity, what's the ability of the province to support what we're doing here. We've got an interest in helping manage this watershed better, and that comes from many different parties. I love looking at this group of people, many different parties, the citizens, stakeholders, the non-governmental groups, the First Nations, the provincial government. This is a really good example of how to get it done at the local level, and great length in the end of it. We'll really get into this in detail, but we have a kind of a governance structure right now with a steering committee that is composed of the boundary elected officials of the regional district, so the 3 electoral area directors and 3 municipal representatives to the regional district. That's what oversees our sort of watershed governance and plan. And then there's an implementation advisory group. I should mention Grayson Gregory is the chair of this steering committee. And Rolly Russell, Area D, electoral area, is the chair of the Beach Advisory Group. And there's a roundtable concept as well, which is the overall water stakeholder group. And then we have technical working groups to look at water ecosystems, water supply, which Kathy mentioned earlier, and the governance and planning, which is actually really the steering committee with the election capacity. So that's the structure by which we try and get stuff done. As Wooly likes to say, it looks all linear and neat, with arrows, and us going back and forth and doing different levels, and those arrows generally pass really neat. Anyways. So a little bit. Stepping back, looking for the really big picture, we're a trans-boundary watershed in the heart of salmon country. I mean, the Pacific Northwest here, the West Montane Cordillera, beautiful part of the province that the Pacific Northwest. The geography of this place itself takes up some big mountain ranges. The Monashees to the north and the Double Range to the south are really high. The highest pass in Washington is down near that number down below there, 5. 20. It's quite interesting that we have such a great scope of the watershed. It of course fits the geography fairly well of the boundary electoral areas of the regional district, and that's going to really give that to the planning room. But I also wanted to recognize it is right at the heart of the traditional territories of the Okanagan people. And you can see the there's the West Kettle and the Kettle and the Grandee and everything, Christina Lake, right at the heart of this although down in here. So it's really kind of thinking about those different maps together helps me think about the scale of issues that we're dealing with. Some really, really large big picture issues get even larger, down to those many lakeshore erosion issues or riparian issues that keep on cropping up. So before I get into that, delriver.ca, you'll find me there, you'll find all of our planning information. We've archived all the columns that have been in the newspaper for the last few years, and continue working on that. There's pretty good resource of information up there, and we keep on updating it. So if you have any questions or suggestions, that's where you get in touch. We also have a Facebook page, So I want to spend at least an hour talking about stuff, but I can't. Water use, huge important issue, and drinking water, of course, as well, and the aquatic ecosystems that we care about. These are the issues that kept on coming up during the watershed plan, and now they're issues that affect us during implementation, especially during the drought year. I've heard 3 different reports in the last couple of weeks of people's wells going dry this summer fall. The wells that are, maybe they're older, maybe they're a little shallow, but during this drought this year, they dried out and they stayed. And so that's, maybe it's connected to this water during the drought. It was a record year for the transport irrigation district. Was it a billion gallons? Yeah, it was a billion gallons. It was a record year for the transport irrigation district. The growing season started, like Dr. Sosa was saying, a month earlier than normal. The temperatures were a month earlier than normal. The growing season, likewise, everything started earlier. And so that stresses these guys out. And I had a report on July 9th from someone on West Hill at a property to the south of Westford, and the cattle company hasn't been traveled along the North Shore on Sunday. A couple flooding by the river, they honestly flowed up and 10. So it's 98. You can see the thermometer through the roof, there's a puddle, and actually that puddle should probably be kind of silty maybe, with the ground to show the other issue, but I think that really communicates it. So we know why in the really big picture. Right? We know about climate change and what's happening, and how much of a change from the historical that is, how much of a change that is from the long term. And so, going back, we have unprecedented temperature and continue to rise very, very quickly. We'll see cooler years, we'll see warmer years, we'll see wetter years, we'll see drier years, but that underlying trend has a really big response. And there's just one other technical graph here. This is from Pacific Climate PCIC. This is mean seasonal temperature increases above historical average, 0 is the average. In 2020, that's only coming up in a few years. You're looking at least 1 to 2 degrees above normal. This is a few years old and not even the worst case scenarios. Right? By the 2050s, you're looking at 1.5 to maybe 5 degrees above normal. And then by the 2080s, up to 7, 8 degrees above normal for summer temperatures. And precipitation is actually interesting as well. Precipitation overall ends up being about the same, but it all gets pushed towards the winter. You have a really big decrease in summertime and an increase in wintertime. And with those temperature differences, more of it comes like this. So that changes things in the river. And it changes things in terms of irrigation water demand. There's a really good study from the province that has been looking at the water demand model for irrigation. But connected to the groundwater, there's sort of this is what we saw in the field this summer. Dried up stream beds. This is a side channel of the temperatures that got dry very quickly and still doesn't have water. It's over by the cemetery. Great. And this is the flow this year. Normal flow, September near Morgan, normal flow, and then like you're talking about, there's July 1, a month ahead kind of thing, August 1, everything is very, very early. The only time that we actually had normal flow was June 1st or 2nd, really, we had heavy rainstorm. And the rest of it sort of come back. So part of the work that I did was looking ahead to the 2050s with irrigation water demand, with climate change forecasts, with agricultural build-out. We're looking at under a really dry year like the one we had here in 2003, we could have up to several weeks of very little or zero flow. So when you add up all of the water use that currently are used in the late summer, it's about the same as what's flowing in the river. If you go ahead for a little bit with those warm temperatures and increased water demand, could we be like those rivers that way? It's a scary topic, and it has a bunch of implications for what we might do going forward. The water conservation and drought response. This is kind of a messy graphic, but it kind of shows on the right side what happened during the drought this summer. The provincial government got together a bunch of different people, kind of a drought working group that responded to various issues and brought about the pronouncements about the drought levels. And then on the left side of the line, there's local capacity, all the water supplies, local governments, the stakeholders, the large irrigators, and farmers that would need to work together and understand the drought impact, how to respond. So our task going ahead, so that we don't get caught behind the gun, I guess, is to develop a drought, water conservation drought response plan before we get to the next drought. So that's one of the things that we're looking at with the water supply this year. I want to talk about a couple of fun stuff before we switch over to ecosystem things. All right. So for anyone who goes and swims at the aquatic center, within a year, a couple of years, you might be able to walk out after your swim, walk into a greenhouse. What kind of fruit do you wish you have? Kiwi, there we go. There's a or lemons or other things. But up near the arena side of it, there will be a Euroscape water conserving demonstration as part of a larger learning demonstration learning here. So I've been involved in this actually volunteer for the most part, helping develop a new concept. So really what we're working on there is building soil from the ground up, from the gravel parking lot, and we'll be showcasing a bunch of water conserving technologies in there, which is really cool. I love to show this one because it's a pretty successful workshop, and there's ways there to go some learning about drip irrigation at the community garden example, having someone how to use it. This is up in the Okanagan where I live at the Wetland Institute. I love the photo because really we're trying to build capacity among older generations who are helping the land heal. This is a big wetland administration project here at the airport. I think we can see more of things like that thanks to partnerships like Stewardship Society, about Habitat Stewards, Barb Stewart's great work on various restoration projects, getting old folks stuff. It's really fun. So this is one that we've been working on by the cemetery. Great drought habitat at the bottom, which is a view of much. Grave at the top, we don't want the grave at the bottom. So next year, this water conservation drought response plan, working with the water supply working group, and it was next to the law developing the terms of reference for that. We're also really excited about preparing to work on the watershed information system, so we can pull together all the different pieces of data and reports, and where does your water come from? Where are the outputs? How much water is flowing in the river now? How much snowpack? Right now, you have to go to dozens of different places to pull that together, and there's a really easy way to pull it all into one. So we're going to and another exciting thing is collaborating with the committee of the navigation lines for holding the headwaters in the spring. And probably up the big light, and a lot of people excited about that. So thank you to insert here RDKD electoral areas, C3 and D. Christina will get involved to the West Boundary. Southern Interior People Action Coalition, Real Estate Foundation, BC, Gideon Foundation, City Network, and then the incredible network of people in the advisory groups and working groups through the last several years. So I think brief pause for questions on that, and then jump into the matrix.
First question,
Great question. Actually, that was on the slide, so I will go back to that. There is still quite a bit of water taken, actually, in the river in various places for irrigation purposes, but where water users have the option of decent surficial aquifer below that area, they typically switch to groundwater. So I think at the time of the summit report, about 50% of the surface licenses were actually currently in use. But what happens is in a sand and gravel aquifer, we have direct interface between the water table, so the hydraulic connection between the water table and the river. And during non-pumping conditions, when you don't have a well inside the river, you'll see the aquifer feeding the river and the river feeding the aquifer. And the river provides that base flow to the aquifer, or the aquifer provides the base flow to the river, and it follows back from the freshwater. But during pumping conditions, you get this experience that has been studied well in the Redwood aquifer, and this represents the nursery Redwood irrigation district well. It will actually start to draw on the flow from the river itself and the water table below the ground river, so it reduces that pressure around there. And even the contour lines of that water table extend well away on the other side of the river. So that's if you happen to have a shallow well near this larger well, you will also see well interference that potentially definitely correlation, very sensitive.
And actually, what's interesting about that is there's an aquifer having said that, they also have things like that on their water consumption, being very aware of that. And I think that's admirable because we're not working.
There's still mutual observation.
It's a challenging question. And even with the water conservation, there are response plans that the water suppliers getting together with province to say something about individual licensees. I think that irrigation decisions that affect what we do during the drought are made preceding years when there's cropping decisions, purchases, etc. Switching to a better pivot irrigation system for paid on might be $75,000 purchase, right? So that's going to be something that it takes time to get to. So, yeah.
They cannot contain enough for the water, but they can afford the water the city of Grand Forks and one person moves.
It's a flat rate. All right. So, any other questions for me?
Graham, are you looking at any water storage retention plans? Because what you're comparing looks like it's going to be less and less butter and higher temperatures.
Yeah, so we discussed this at length at the advisory group, that they have 3 actions with the Watershed plan that relate to it. One of them is to look at the potential need for water storage, what are the purposes that it would be needed for, how much would be needed, and who is it needed by. So augmenting flows for fishery, for instance, supplying water for utilities, these are the types of water group. Now, for instance, if we look at Big Lake and Fall Lake, there's enough water there. It's about the size of a super tanker. There's enough water to pump up that flow for a cubic meter per second for a few days if they were to release it. So you think not maybe giant dams, maybe medium dams, that kind of thing? No. So the second action is to look at potential storage sites. And the third is that those are favorable to go through the feasibility. That's years of work. I would say our group recognized it was important, but also felt the caution that it's a really tricky, high liability, high risk endeavor. And feel like that's the right We've invited the back and forth dialogue with individual components and we have some depending on their needs. They've got a slightly different planning environment that they have recently just finished a shoreline master program, which is basically like frontage kind of in floodplain bylaw, combined with development plan, planning for areas and Fairhaven County. So that's very worthwhile looking at. They've also looked at water conservation from a Washington State called the fisheries regulations and so on, water quality stuff. There's mentioned that maybe we focus lightly more on some of the things, but not a direct one-to-one.
Water storage in other words than using?
Well, everything in the river is maybe usage. Fish use it too, right? The fish habitat becomes conservation usage. Water storage could support that, and also support increased usage. But when is the water abundant? Early spring. When it's deficient, late summer. We look at our current usage that's not supported by storage. That's where the impact is really. So the usage that comes directly from the wells and intakes during the summer when the water is yeah, I should get on together. So because we could go on for a long time. Okay, I'm not going to go into great detail. I can show a few pretty pictures, and then we'll have more presentations about this a little later. So Jenny Colesnell and I worked on things with the Grand Wilderness Society. We worked for the last 2 years on a threat assessment of the recurrent threat assessment of the Kettle River, and we did GIS, map-based assessment across the watershed of various land uses and disturbances, and we did a field study in 2014 of 90 different sites representing different disturbance conditions across the watershed. Everything from here out in the lake all the way up near Big Light, all the way up to Grand View. We were looking at everything from places with a lot of logging, places on the road, places on cattle, places in urban suburban development. We looked at all of those different contexts. We kept in mind the big picture of how the systems work and riparian systems work and functions. And so the studies of vegetation and soil conditions along the shoreline and the transect away, and we're looking at site specific as well as the human footprint in the surrounding area. Way fast. This is Boundary Creek. The stream used to flow on the other side of those shrubs of the rivers that move around. Sometimes we move them, and of course, what we do on the shoreline has an immediate impact during a storm, a rainstorm. This one down in City Park, we remove the shrubs and trees along the shoreline, critical happens. Sometimes natural systems may be superimposed with human influences. It's hard to say what would cause a cutoff of the flow to reach the Kettle River by the Myers Creek confluence here. But eventually, this farmer did walk to about 70 acres of hayfield. It's a prime drug habitat, including a number of landscape structures high and dry. Anybody picture where this is? That's in the 40s, late 40s. Where Interfor is now is actually a pretty big tropical wetland, as many industrial areas have been filled in. Also, City Park on the left, there's a big wetland feature there. So Jenny did some air fluid analysis looking between then and now, what kind of things change, where the wetlands were and where they are now, areas, all the great information. So we looked at timing of like when forest harvest has happened over the years in the watershed. This is going back to before the 60s, I guess, and red is more recent stuff blocks, and green is much further in the past. So you can kind of see patterns of forest harvest, where they happen, we can look at road and stream crossings and how big a road and how big a stream. This is on the Kettle River at Red Hill Creek. Anyone know why there's no red dot on the right side? Very hard. There you go. No roads up there. And when you look at the density of roads, when you're above, as you get higher density of roads, you have more sediment or streams. It really comes down to roads. They're kind of a scourge of way, if they're, especially if they're not managed well. Sometimes there's sediment concerns around how they're managed. But in some areas, we have road density of greater than 5 kilometers of road per square kilometer. So that's what the game can do out limestone and Grand Park. This is some of the photos from Jenny here. Her dog loves the colors, right? We also looked at mountain pine beetle and got data, some data from the province, and you can see the severity of outbreak and where that was significant. And this is, a lot of this is older in the early outbreak. So southeast of Kelowna historically was a huge, what was that, the 70s? 70s, 80s? In any event, a lot of the big cut blocks during that time were related to this following up from those places. And then more recently, we're seeing quite a bit happening up in the Boundary Creek watershed. And interestingly, there's some up in Randy as well. So my understanding is that mountain pine beetle is this is one area that we're increasing still. Is that right? Is that understanding that the mountain pine beetle kind of continue to expand in this area and other areas?
And most of the rest of the province, I think, a lot of the time inside. Yeah, so here, a lot of the hunters, there are still issues.
Anyway, so we chose 9 sub-watersheds to do our field study in, and then did random samples within those sites, and those represented different types of pressures, and including the reference watershed, which Creek, which quite a few of our sites are actually built with some interesting, just a less in the field. We get different conditions, finding various things on the way, to the creek. This is a lynch tree. You can see where the creek is just in the background there. Sediment issues occurring there. Timber sales is weird. Anyways, interesting issues when you have a small drainage, non-classified drainage, and there's a blowdown, for instance. Do you salvage? What kind of protections are there? There's a bunch of different situations. And then you look just downstream, and the data, the science from the best science from around the world around the impacts of small streams and non-classified, non-fishing streams, they are tremendously important for downstream water quality and downstream fisheries, even if they're efficient. So, number one thing for us is looking, can we relook at our policies around small stream and small wetland protection, forestry and range. There's no one here from range today, but this is out in the west boundary, and you can see quite a bit of tugging from cattle there. Here, likewise, you can see the small stream has been heavily impacted by the graded pressure. This is common practice as well, burning of the riparian areas to improve their range values, and it has an impact. This was me getting upset certainly before their city management practices in city health and Grand Forks. Wouldn't it be nice to have a lawn going down to the river? You saw what happened as a result of this earlier. Dumping lawn waste over the edges of banks into wetlands. Pretty common riparian practice. Obviously, in conversation, but we're going to look for riprapping is another pressure for sure. Pushing debris off of landings or pullouts into riparian areas. As you look around, you realize everyone has a part of the picture. Everyone was, there's no one group that whose responsibility about the cumulative impact of many, many, many different decisions. Everyone from highways, forestry, range, farmers, people living in the city, people with trails, ATVs, etc. Everyone had some little piece of the impact, but no one was looking at the whole picture of how those impacts combine. So that was the aim of our study, to kind of take a snapshot of the big picture. Basically, the more human footprint there is, the worse off the riparian health. Pretty intuitive. The data supports it. Lower elevation sites are generally lower off. And Barb would be interested in this is that if you have greater than 0.7% cover of non-native plants, chances are your riparian area is that gradient. So some remotely sensible items, some elevation which you can just pick off the map, and some non-native plant species. You can tell how your riparian area is. Pretty cool. There's implications. I'm not going to get into detail, but we're working on a follow-up piece for this as well that's translated to kind of the policy piece. Is how do we use the information from this to say what we should be doing near riparian areas for development, for vegetation management of properties, for forestry, for agriculture, for various different things, and then pushing those recommendations out to all the many different people who have all of them, because we don't. So, anyways, that's kind of the various different areas that we might go to. So I'm just gonna all right through to here's one of the ones that work now. So the bigger stuff is where we're not. We've been doing capacity building. We had a restoration course this fall with Dave Folker, and we're really interested in learning the best practices of repairing ecosystems and preventing harm to move along. So should have more than 5 minutes.
Okay, Kenny, that's really helpful this work. A lot of times. So guess who's up next? You know, ladies and gentlemen, I have a great deal of respect for Dave Lister, and I have a lot of respect for what he does, and I also have a lot of respect for how he does it. And Dave has a way with people that's really special, and in his job he needs that. So, you know, put your hands together, give this guy a great big round of applause. And the lights can go on. Dave Webster comes up and the lights go on. Message there, right?
I'm going to get into some of the specific issues from experience here in this area in 2015. I thought I'd start off this year just thinking kind of a bit more of the introduction to me. Just so people have a city and center of thing. We've got 23 years in next spring in the civil service. I started my career in Missouri. I was a war officer, Western investigation here. All we did was go industry permits, air and water quality testing, things like that. There was a specific office for figuring out. And they actually did physics. So I talked to the state river, things like that. And the whole time, going up to negatives, we couldn't make a good we talked about septic issues and things like that. I mean, when we first called it, corporation built that, not the rupture in your food line. We had 300 acres flooded. The hazmat guys that were in the same office as me showed up to looking for our next problem. The respirators, gloves, boots, they got tanks on the back. And I put my safety gear on the back of my field tank and pair of other boots. Things have changed, but we were responsible for the other things and things like that. I did that for about 4 years, and then I only came up and race on the trail, just decided to try to over there. I spent close to 7 more years on that time doing fixing all of it. The lower mainland itself is the busiest small and wildlife district in the province. Maple Ridge will get 1,400 to 2,000 here. And that's where you're going to be. So a lot of times, the old watchers visit their relocations. Those relocations want to relocation stay forward. So I'll go about that. And what works, what doesn't work. Part of my duties down there was also being media liaison. With all the media relations for going on for 2 years. I was part of the ceremonial unit down there. And I still on today. We are the parade, also memorial function, and food. And my latest function is I represent the US at the original team for today's event. And so aggressive work. Came to Grand Forks in 2004. Became a decoy coordinator in the Hoogies and for the American Army. Decoy coordinator is somebody that operates and runs all the mechanical walleye apparatus that we have for the motion operation. We have identified areas that we have no coast, here, no moose. We have simulations that we can put out to see if we can apprehend them. Deductible for you is highly effective. Possible record, your job to look after extremely fragile remote controlled electronics. The small person that you put out in the sun range and shot at. And you got your boss saying, get that thing working, we got more trust. Did that for 4 years. That's now somebody else's job, and when they're doing it, but we actually did. We had a great year this year. The FCC at the United States actually donated us the Lake Hill decoy. We got the decoy in the cheap. All the local fish walleye up in the West Indies came together, donated money. We now got a full-size pumping decoy, and we got a couple of years. We put those in we got the Elk Lake, so we were able to use up to like this year, but the mill here in Lake Hill, we were highly successful this year. Andre and Christina. One of my other functions is with the CFS. 2007, I was certified as a military and operators and instructors from an E-Rock instructor. And then the lead E-Rock instructors as well. I'm part of the training team, and as such, I only in-house staff, but I attend our Western Canadian law enforcement academy twice a year. There's a lot of these. Young practice doesn't take this. But it's a big time commitment, and it's something I feel very good. I'm not going to do it for some more years, but right now we're going to do it. This year I actually had to travel to 6,000%. This is where they can do. So that's what we're doing. We don't control the timing of it. The timing is what's going on here at home. All recruits from Manitoba and West are trained to the same standards. We have 11. That's good news for us. Back in 2007 as well, I attended a North American Wildlife Enforcement Officers Association conference, and I was elected as regional director at that time, representing Western Canada on that board. That association represents 8,000 Americans. We have one group. We focus on training, sharing information, and supporting families and whatnot. Every year, unfortunately, we give a families that they lost. I've been watching and these are financial. So it's a pretty important cause. And thanks to there, I've been on that board since 2007, and I just left the position. So I got 2 years of past president, and then somebody else. But that's another big. I do off the top of my desk on my own time. But it requires me to travel to 8 years. So the White House in the Grand Canyon. We've got victory lesson this summer, so put 12,000 kilometers on my truck to go to South Carolina. Where I kind of really started to go out to my life. Got to go to the life, the plan, and got hazard. That's a peaceful moment for your kids. Well, we got there a week out. They brought out a lot of people report, a lot of people look at it. We literally show up our whole route with 2 blocks in the same station. And the people that really like each other got together and we're put together, it's supposed to be a lot of great opportunities to update the Canada, all the way and that's part of my duty. I'm not going to so we get to 2015. I'm going to Europe experience. The extreme Europe, the extreme fire. Prior to the people really starting working with the Freshwater Victory Society, we see Exfoliated and Field Service pretty successful company. And in terms of that, we committed to really step up our commitment to pictures and buildings. So the West can be going, I'll explain the going. So I started scrapbooks with the 7-1 district office. Scrapbooks have the budget, some the virtual area. So since that time, we've involved with the run of the loan contract. So now scrapbooks part of the loan, which includes council guard. So now when I refer to the West City zone, there are 6 officers in that zone. And they represent that whole area. And there are 6 officers now because they have to retire the second and first and not in 3 digital. So there's 2 officers. That's up to them. So we committed in the West City to increasing our efficiency to by 390 miles. And then we exceeded that. So it was a very successful year and a half. So just to give you some comparison, West City Zone in 2015 had 97 tickets for violations. We had 22 provincial tickets, and we had 120. This year with increased presence, we ended up issuing 125 civil tickets. We had 60 provincial tickets and 200. So I did have an impact. I think and this, I've noticed, you know, the compliance rate is probably very high. Extremely high. So we went into there when we got kind of into the heat of the road. And the fire team started hit. And this year was better than normal as well because there was some issues with some unrelated to the work safety issues on one of the specific and as a result of some parts that I didn't do for the trip, we need you guys to work on that. They agreed. The things that happened at the West City, we went to work during the day for COS, and then at 7 o'clock and then we started doing some work to employ them. And that was a 7-day week, and they were as long as we could keep it up. And we went on. And just some of the numbers there, we ended up rating in basically a 2-month period, we were 68 violations a year. We were writing tickets 2 weeks after the lockdown. Down under the areas, unfortunately, because it didn't end. So we fire hit early August. All 5 members of the one service were called into action. That one we actually called it on a little bit. Some days we actually, they basically did it out there at the time. We hadn't been able to go into the hand. We did not that. We helped it back to the so all that will say is practically going for a whole, we put it in one in that year. But, I think based on the road conditions and the parking, we ended up, we thought, in my personal, if there's a deal, I thought it was a lot of luck. My work season. The airports, the common for, between each election, there was a fair number of there. Cigar was close to 50. There's the 3 officers. And I've been there for 30 years. Of which we've done the numbers and 5 of them are outside 15. So 31 of those 36. What we were seeing, and I believe it, and it's kind of we had a couple of years of really good food retention up high, not the dairy, not good from the recruitment of the animals was excellent, and on everybody was happy. This year, yes, really dry stuff right up early. Those are there. And then when I believe that I'm in South Lake, so both mid September is going to really hit. And then I look at 7 days and 4 hours. And it's the most yearlings and families. It wasn't easy, and they say it wasn't done without certain consideration of looking at what they were doing. Compared to the cost. And I want to make sure that people understand some people not say that they're in the yard. Going in the other bears there, let the block be fixed, and then you make that difference on. Bears will look down. We had the first out two bucks that I did all this. We're out to the care of and not just running the vehicle, but people walking and we actually have a the point is that could be 15 minutes. Most during bears and down and I didn't enjoy doing it. It's not an easy reaction. That's why I work in all day, I've been there all the 8, 9, 10 hour drive. We do all the 72 hours later, we'll be there the same time. Everything. That's my personal experience. You can argue with me all day long. So yeah, based on that, and I said we wanted to do a little bit earlier in the year. We talked about it earlier, but we haven't conducted a what we call the bear track on it. This exercise is fantastic. Really appreciate it. We went to 158 properties. We complement 15 days. Looked at what was there with the track and how the potential to be there with the experience. Head was off. Because you just put the ball in the bed. The cluster resident is comfortable down with the ball there. We're ready to come back over the next year. You're going to air today. So that was part of what the audit for, because when we did the law office in the spring, identify again those food trees, bird feed, any of those sources out there. So there, I mean, the market is pretty good, 81%, and there's more, and pretty supportive. Those other I got my master's for 5 years ago, I never had to go out on the block there. I got there this year. But, I'm really good.
I'm good. Everybody likes to get things whenever anybody says anything like they're just doing it because they're doing it, that's not the truth at all. I totally agree. What about cruises? Have we had a couple of those?
We had a couple of cruiser sightings out in the neighborhood. Christina likes to read it in 3 years. I mean, it's all. I mean, I've heard about that, but we're going to see. We had a couple of cats in 15 days every week. One of them put down. The young one said, we had some other instances early on. Not we try to go back to carrying wherever we can. As long as I don't have that entry, that's what I'm doing. If you're dealing with garbage here, I can't judge the consequence, but what if you where I can, I will do that. But like I say, once I get the doctor, you're dealing with a situation. Like we had this year, people see that the hair not made, I talked to some people who looked at it, but absolutely believe there's a tag a lot there in the mountain. There's a green metal with butterflies and a blue flame. And I put the hairs out there and I just walk over to it. And I told her, they all the towns there myself. Find out when it doesn't exist at that time of year. We had usually that year. But I think regardless of the fires, we would have to air distance.
There is a amazing thing. I'm doing with them close to the one capture that. There is a property that more. 10 days later, literally, it was actually Henderson.
He goes up and they start walking. We had another one, they took me in the birds. He walked over there. They walked the neighbor on there. But they walked the first time.
You're reporting, very comfortable in my sense, and obviously the dog keeps way back over again. Should I be reporting it on the controlling that is there?
Because we don't need some good stuff, right? We need that information. Like, if there's up on your fence, maybe you're not necessarily going to get a reaction out of that. But if I have really information, we're able to garbage and something down, And that's what we try to implement with the, like, we're now taking, because there's a lot of people, other people, so we're trying to, we have 3 or 4, 7 days, to go out to the services, there's actually, so then we gotta do it again, and then you gotta, so because I know where the bears are really starting to hang out, and that's what we kind of got, it gives us that information we need so that we can make a decision. And you're right, so we can come up with putting 30 some bears out, we actually 3% of the that's the it's definitely not all of people want to shoot. This is out there, right? Because a lot of people believe you call us to just come up and shoot.
Big-minded.
Well, I'm quite honest. The green bins are not by any stretch of the imagination. And I got, they were never told about it, right? What we're finding though, and all I can say is wherever the green bin was problem, there was other bigger problems go on with it. So you either had uncontained, uncontrolled, or everything else, like first trees, that first years, yeah, that's the way. If I get more potatoes, the bears looking at my trees around my truck for 2 times. Okay, maybe it's not gonna do it. So, what happens is when the green bin is an access because of other attractions, you better get to do that. I love them. They're awesome. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They see green bin now. They've got outside the one next door. I'm going to get one up. They know what there's 17 more. I can keep down this time. Right? So they start getting it. You've got to be able to have competition.
And the same thing would happen if those organics were in your garbage.
Yeah, you do have to come up with a better solution. And but the very good point, you saw 2-3 years ago, they would smash the windows of the lock truck. They were open doors to look at that. I've seen very much in my life. Look at they're leading right in and got time to go back and back. So they pulled the bait and tripped the door as well as still on the
Okay, we're gonna have to wrap this. We can talk today forever. Okay, so you guys will-
A lot of it is the legal year. And the larger area of practice. You guys are going out to the state, and they're going out to I'm not going to everything you guys definitely not to go out to it's not the first the version of public appeal. I read about 2 weeks ago. It's a pretty good case. Most people think it's very much. You can't always do that because there's some water on the street.
Anyway, okay. And by the way, there was a fair for the first time ever called over us and every night. We had them on critter cam. Well, what it was birdseed. So we took the birdseed all the way by Corburn Storm, and the bears still came over and looking for the birdseed.
I got a degree in all like management miles. Birds don't need your birdseed. They're going to live. They'll find a way.
They're still alive.
Birds will survive.
Thank you, Dave. Okay. So there's a new song there, the birds will survive. And everybody should have at least one a day. Okay, so we're also fortunate to have John Guido with us. And John is practice forester, CCTS, Ground Forks, and she's going to talk to us about PCCS Forest Stewardship Plan. And stand up, Don Guido.
Thank you. I feel like I have to put happy faces on people after that last day. It's very good talk. I enjoyed it. Some happy news from the sales is that our sales are very competitive. The work that we're doing is very much competitive. And we are getting some of the highest prices in the province for our tea stuff. This here is the picture taken near Mount Baldy. It stated in report two types in the crowd. Can you tell us what type of trees you have back that front? What species? Multiple kinds. Great. And these are going to the Bogdale Gateway. I'm here today to talk about our forest stewardship plan, and I've been talking coming to these meetings probably 6 or 7 or more years. I don't quite have the storied career that Dave has, but this will actually be the last time I'm here, as I've accepted a job with UCC sales development. So I'll be moving on. And my predecessor is in the back there. Ed Harrison will be replacing me here in Vancouver. I'm very happy to still be able to be working towards UCC sales, but I'll be working as Oh. You go by yourself? Oh my God, I hope not. If I do, it's going to take off on me here, and I have to figure out how to pause it. Sure. I did something funny last night, but I'm working on it. So it's very timely today to talk about our forest stewardship fund because it expires in October 2016. Our forest stewardship, oh, there we go. Move on. Okay. Our forest stewardship fund came into existence in 2006. In 2005, we were required to renew it. And at that time, we applied for and got an extension to October 2016. So over the past 10 years, our stewardship fund had approximately 20 amendments. If the amendments are significant, we're required to advertise and seek public input. If there's small little changes, then we will carry on. So this winter, you will see sometime in the local paper, BC commercials will be asking for your input into a forest stewardship plan. We'll actually be asking for your input. And yes, you'll have a 60-day period for which you can provide input into the plan. You'll be given a contact person's name in that advertising, and you'll also be told where you can go to find out information about the forest stewardship plan. You'll provide us comments to BC yourself, and we'll consider the comments that is provided to us, and we'll wrap that up into a plan and make changes as necessary. And then we hand our plan over to the manager for the Selkirk Forest District. Boundary is part of the Selkirk Forest District. Yeah. And so that's it. Great. Thank you. Okay. So what is the forest stewardship plan? Forest harvesting in BC is governed by the Forest and Range Practices Act. Now this act requires that licensees such as BCCS and Institute 4 prepare and have an approved forest stewardship plan for which we work under. The SFP is a strategic plan. It does not have specific locations for a function road. It's a higher level plan. It works over the higher level. An SFP has results and strategies built into it. And these are strategies that describe how we as forest licensees are going to protect the water, soil, fish, wildlife, mineral quality, and etc., and other resources that are out there in the forest, on the land, when we're carrying out our harvest activities. Now, these results and strategies, because we're talking about a higher level plan, these results and strategies apply to these specific self-operating areas. Here's a map of the boundary timber supply area. There's two green blobs on there are the north is the Granby, and then you have the Gladstone Park. You see along Christina Lake down there at south of Gladstone Park. And all of those little areas with names attached to them within the timber supply area, those are BC Timber Sales operating areas. We have 11 operating areas. And we share this timber supply area with Singapore. And they have operating areas within this area as well. And Doug will be talking a little bit about that after the So there's the West Christina operating area on the map. So the results and strategies apply over these operating areas. So I'd like to give you an example of what a results and strategy looks like. Our forest stewardship plan is a relatively large document that's about 40 pages long, and for all of these values that I mentioned, it has a number of results and strategies that we have written into our forest stewardship plan, so we are required to follow. In addition to the legislation, which also has protection, we have our own that we have written into our forest stewardship plan. So this is an example of one result and strategy that is used to drinking water. The streams that we encounter during harvesting that people have water licenses on. I just outdated that was kind of this is sort of the language of me in a forest stewardship plan. As a plan and design stage for harvesting, road construction, or deactivation, a reasonable effort will be made to contact licensed water users to provide an opportunity for those persons to provide comments on the plan that we have for that area. So reasonable effort means that you will get a referral letter to each licensed water user as listed in the Land and Water BC website. So you need to be a licensed water user, indicating what our plan development is, and requesting a comment within the stated period of time, and that's usually 30 days. And then we talk about license for human consumption use, drinking water. So if you want to find where our current forest stewardship plan is located, you can go to this website that I have here. There's a lot of information about each of the sales on this website, and that green line middle of the page here. This is showing FSP documentation and maps. So the FSP is an overall strategy that we work under. The maps that are there actually show our current development. So last year we went out and determined what our cut blocks and roads were going to be, and now we're actually in the middle of the referral for our specific plans for areas. And those maps, you go on that website, so take a look at the maps and see our specific plans. Those plans have been referred out to stakeholders who might have interest in them. For example, range use holder, people have licensed water work, if our development is based in private land, First Nations, they refer to required by law to develop the First Nations, so we are not required by law to provide information to any of the other stakeholders that is listed, except for licensed water users, because we have written that in that forest stewardship plan. The other information we provided, say, to private landowners, that's an idea of when they're interested in taking that, but not obligated to under law or So I do have forest stewardship plan here. I have a couple copies if you'd like to copy to look at it. One for inside and hard copy. In addition, back where Ed is, I have a sheet there that you can sign your name and give me an email, and I can provide a notice to you when our FSP is up for public review. That's all I have today. And a brief overview of the first phase of time. I do have any questions.
Yes, you can just go 3 times. Oh, that's in the script. Do you go back and return on first?
That's a very good question. As far as the inbox road is concerned, we try to maintain those roads until we continue planting because we need to keep it for access to get our planters out there. But in general, our inbox roads are rehabilitated and planted as well. How quickly do we plant? Usually within a year or two of harvesting, we have trees in the ground.
I think the reserve is very important to me. We're going to do some parts of the hill, we're going there to do a street release. What's our coordination with the environment or whoever else to make sure that that constantly holds back the lake?
I can't speak to that because that's not within our operating area. They're not working within what we consider as operating area. Maybe Doug, do you have any information on that? No? Okay, so maybe on private land, or
Yes.
okay, so you told me in the 18 to do the
you saying it's a salvage, right? That's what it is. Right. So, and then Grant, you hear from them, what's Grant?
I've got to talk about it, yeah.
Okay.
Coordinating
Yeah, so, and I'm also, you know, Brett, I'm Brett. So that's all, you know, that's the first thing.
We get people want to salvage within the operating area. You review those referrals and you can approve or not approve them. That's happening in our operating area. And I have not seen that referral. So I'm suspecting that it either hasn't been yet or it's not within our operating area.
Thank you so much. Really, really good. So staying within the forest area, we have Jennifer with us, I think. You know, people, what's interesting with forestry is I'm actually in favor of forestry. As you can see what happens if you leave all those trees out there, you have all that dead pulp. And then you have fires. But it has to be done right. And I know Doug pretty well. And actually, the fight know Doug pretty well. Because Doug has worked extensively with them on really good forest practices. So we're trying to get it down the road.
This one. Okay, thanks, Don. That was a good overview of the FSP. I'm going to talk about a little more of the ground level stuff, top level. But before I do that, just want to introduce, I'm a worker from Brandon Corp, and what I do is I deal with stuff that happens prior to logging. We kind of have 3 phases. We have prior to logging, we have the logging itself, and we have post-harvest, which is often called silviculture. But I just want to introduce Debbie Bhattacharya. She's another development forester in Grand Forks, and she does some similar things. She's done that with the people. Okay, so like I said, so that the cut blocks are contained within a cutting permit. And these cutting permits, they have a 4-year term. And basically, the government's permit approval for us to cut timber on Crown land. They get referred to, like that, like Don was saying, First Nations, other interested or affected parties, and they have to conform to the forest stewardship plan, and they also have to work tax. Sometimes it's just as straightforward as do the same. The only one I didn't change here was the planner. It was already on a plan of ours. This is a little bit how things happen sometimes. You know, you got the optimist saying, yeah, we can do it. You've got the sawmill who's always complaining that the logs aren't square. And then we have the planner in the middle who's wondering what happened. But we do have processes that we go through. And we have a pretty good system whereby we address the different things that we need to address. Some of the stuff that Don talked about. This was a clip I just took out of our database. This is something that we do on a regular basis for every block that we plan. Now that all those other things aside, we are looking for merchantable wood after all. So we don't have merchantable wood. We can't make lumber. We don't pay for all the jobs to support it. And well, that's the first thing we look for. And we have to have roads. Those roads that Graham talked about, those nasty roads. But unfortunately, we have to build these roads in order to get the timber out. So I'm going to take the roads off just so we can see some of the other things that we deal with. We have 7% of our area, according to our FSP, is in wildlife tree patches. So if you have an area that has 1,000 hectares, you're going to end up with 70 hectares of wildlife tree patch scattered over that area. That's among some of the other retentions that we have to look after. So now this is a little bit, that little odd circle in the middle just happens to be a permanent sample plot, so we made a reserve out of it. And there's a minimum distance from the center of the plot, so turned it into a wildlife tree patch too. We have outlines. We have a lot of acronyms. So I felt a lot of above. Yeah, it'll be like hearing somebody speak different languages and not used to it. But our outlets, our overall census areas, we also have a certain percentage of area that we have to have in these types of the oldest timber types usually on the landscape. We've got things like private land that work around the course. There is inoperable areas, there's places that it's not practical.
So can you hear me? Okay. So the inoperable areas are just so there is where the timber isn't valuable enough to go and build a road or the helicopter out or whatever. We have this particular block has chief disarranged, disregard order, government action regulations. This particular block has it. In this case, it didn't affect things too much, but it did restrict some of our access down to the southwest of the block. So went out there with Barry Brando, and he asked us to rehab this particular set of roads there so that people on pods can go through and disturb the sheep when they're in their landing period. And then, of course, there went in, disregard order, this kind of okay. That trumps most other things. But it doesn't mean we can't log in the other winter range areas. So we have a really complicated, this thing is part of the bar order for the over there. and it's really complicated. I struggle with it every single time I have to go into it. Usually I have to go to Randy Waters and get him to explain it to me again. But when we get to that, we get to the point where, okay, so we've got our blocks, and we've got our harvest units, we've got our reserve, and then we refer it. So the control map that Don talked about, this is just a segment out of it. It doesn't always mean that that's the exact shape of the block, but sometimes we make bigger areas so that covers deep things within that area, but it'll be within that area. This is then once we get it to referral back, we sometimes before, but usually afterwards, we will cruise the area. You can see that every single one of those lines on there, every boundary, every spot, there's being people on the ground doing work. So these blocks get covered very thoroughly. Once that cruise gets done, we compile it, we take all that information from the cruise. The cruise is just a sample of trees, and then we add it all up and we extrapolate it, and we come up with a compilation that's sometimes 700 to 900 pages long. We used to print them off, we don't anymore, they're all digital. So that's what happens when you get a bigger computer, you just get more pages. One of this volume, this is kind of the guts of it, this is the summary, this tells us what volume we have, what species, it's kind of it's a summary of it all. So you can see that there's balsam, cedar, Douglas fir, larch, lodgepole pine, spruce, yellow pine, birch. All those species are in this cutting permit. We use this for appraisal. So we make that's another whole story that we'll get into. See this thing right here, this ring here, Jimmy, that's another time the old fellow actually provide some big work. Debbie sent that to me a while back, and I thought I better show that in somewhere. I'm a fan of Larson. But I should say that contrary to what you might think, we don't actually, we're often not going for the biggest stuff. This is part of that same compilation. You can see there's quite a lot of fir, larch, cedar. These are the business by diameter class. So this kind of gives you a snapshot of what that stand looks like. Typically, we will be leaving a lot of the yellow pines, especially the big ones, a lot of the fir, and a lot of the large, the big ones. And we did that for a number of reasons. One reason is that the biggest fir larch is often hard cracked. It doesn't make it good lumber, but it also makes very good wildlife trees. So there's kind of a it's more than not reading it, but it's also provides shade, it's structural diversity, it's also that kind of stuff. We tend to go the mill, like I said before, the mill wants a hamburger. Well, they want certain size trees, so that's also one of the factors involved in the reason. Once we get to all that, we build a site plan. So the site plan has a map, shows all the reserves. Where's that circle go? This must be an old site plan. New one's got that CSP, that term sample cost new. So in that site plan, we see all our field data that people provide. They take riparian information, they take like soil information, sand information, so that we can make decisions of what we're going to do in that block, what we're going to retain, what we're going to cut, and how we go on it. There are also archaeological assessments, which are separate from the First Nations review. Sometimes they go together, sometimes they both want to go. Sometimes you have the shoe block competing with the open market, they both want to go to the same block. So there's a lot going on there behind the scenes. Last but not least is terrain stability assessment. Anything that shows any kinds of terrain instability, yes, that's all. Specialists go out there and look at it, how you can build it up. So in the first page of the site plan, there's the areas, basically tells the areas of the reserves of the birch area. Okay. I don't know if you read that. The woods were dark and foreboding, and Alice was walking down the path with a vacuum cleaner. She knows the nature of work vacuum. So I say that to our civil public workers a lot of times. I said, trees are going to grow. It doesn't hurt much. They were growing before we came, and if we didn't do anything, they'd still grow. However, in the site plan, we have certain specific requirements. They have to be preferred species. They have to be a certain stocking density. There are standards that have to be followed. And we have quite strong legal requirements. Soil disturbance, biodiversity, that's our wildlife tree percentages, quite a number, wildlife, under the winter rain for mule deer, moose, mountain goat, mountain sheep. There's one for badger, grizzly bear. So we have to address that in here. The weeds up there, invasive species. Visual, some areas have visual objectives, like one side of Christian Lake here. Riparian, archaeology. The things that pay fees have to be signed by a professional forester, so that's Debbie and I, or professional foresters, so we have to sign these. And then we take all that information and we put it on the logging plan map. And the logging plan map is really where the logger takes this information and applies it. So we have to have everything that was on that FSP has to be translated into this logging plan. This is just a close up of the map. You can see, there's small barrels, there's domestic watershed lines, there's fire. No, it's just district. Fire, yeah, it's the districts that show what fire hazards.
Fire weather station. Fire weather right now?
Some of it, like all these walls, some of them are unfriendly, some are local, some are temporary walls, and we have these are secret faults. There's more on there that's what the logger. We're really making more now with making individuals, so the logger can go electric and expand it, and we can see where exactly where those faults are. So it's getting more organized over time. Artist, I see the clip from the top end. This shows that the SP has to be approved before we start logging. The CP has to be approved before we start logging. So both those things have to be filled before we get on the ground. These are harvesting the details on this one time map. So this one talks about planting grass seeding, so because of the invasive plants don't move soil anymore than you have to. You go from this block to another, or that another block to this. There's a note on here about restricting ATV access because of the mountain speed. This is terrain stability mode, and there's certain things that have to be done because normally we did this
the geotech from Alton, he came out and he changed some things we had on the block. That's something that's really improved in 20 years. 30 years ago, slides were more common than they are now. Now they're a bit of a rarity. That's part of the reason. The riparian management district is about never having streams. Streams that meet the definition of a stream where they have, like alluvial sediments. But we also mark out areas that aren't streams, but may contain water at some point. So it might be just depressions basically, and in this plot particularly, they marked probably a lot of stuff that didn't have to, but it is in there. And then the logger knows when he comes across when we get the density, everything's going to happen. These trees, this specifies these trees, the block, the part of the block that can retain all the fur over 37.4 centimeters DBA. Pick that number up. It's because it's the 40 centimeter diameter class. So 37.4 to 42.5. All yellow pine and fur over 37.4. So you see this metal with an HU2, that's the second part of the block. That's a type of restoration that we work with on. Ecosystem restoration means what we're trying to do is bring it more to a type of sand that can resist the fire, where the fire can go through without burning up the whole sand that you saw in the property. All those areas, all the trees died in some of the areas, whereas if they tend to get the more stand out, the bigger trees, they don't build up as much. And then one of the big ones. In this case, it's a bit complicated to just put a diameter limit or a straight limit on it. You went out and actually marked the trees with no fence to go to the 140. And then I just went and I grabbed some pictures that were just kind of handy. I think this might be up in that open area too. Sometimes we need trees for shade. If it's a house lower elevation, we want to have some shade for the regen. The regen may be able to. Sometimes we push that area, and often that's because there's nothing to leave. It's like, for instance, here there was probably multiple time solution Walton. So we have in the past rescue Walton at times and clusters, and most of the time it stands up, but a lot of times it falls down, so it's not good. This is up in Wilson too, so this is one where we wanted to say they also left some of the regen behind, some of the small trees. Let's say that there's an advantage to doing something like that. You'd rather do something like that usually than just all of one. Nevertheless, there are some times when we want to have all on, because if a large house business building, then they would prevent it from free to go out. And we have pretty strict requirements on our free to go organization. If we don't get free to go in 20 years, usually we do a lot earlier than that. If we don't do it in 20 years, it's big fine. I don't think it's ever happened to us yet, but we're very careful about that. Okay, the picture's pretty bleak, gentlemen. The world climates are changing, the animals are taking over, and we all have a grain side of the wall. There's quite a lot of doom and gloom out there. Really, kind of there is, but I have to come up with it. And not partly because I think we've got brains at least one side of the wall, and hopefully
So I think we're gonna come up with something. You know, a few years down the road, where we harvested, I guess it's probably 10, 12 years old. Just got a few pictures. I got these from Ryan. So, you know, the trees to the back, this one was before Ryan came, this was like 1991, something like that. That's the sign. We used to put those signs out there, and I think this was 1991. So, the trees come back. We're probably about 15 years away from harvesting some of the stuff that was long back in the 50s. Then I never leave anything without this is my grandson. And aside from him making it in everything, that's right. You can't help it. Feel
I agree with that. Questions for us?
We sure have Mary. That's right, there's a lot of people. Okay, everybody, lights on, everybody's home, or going to bed. Okay, what a neat day we've had, right? Brenda, could we have all your stewardship people that are in the room stand up? Please? All of you, yes. Big round of applause for these people. Wow, what good work you guys do. And also big round of applause for everybody in the room for even being here and listening to all that information. Thank you, Grace, for your continued support of doing this every year. Awesome job. So, are there any specific questions before we spring you loose? And could I suggest, please, because the stewardship are all volunteers, as many are in this room, if you would attack the table that you're sitting at and put its little legs in and have it ready to put in the room, then none of us have to stay until 5 o'clock. Right? So thanks for being here, everybody. It's great fun as usual.